Welcome to episode 25 of The Young Adult's Guide to Planet Earth, the podcast where we try to figure out life through good conversation. I'm your host, Clayton Hamrick, and joining me is Sid Warren.
Oh, yeah. Sid's in the house.
We also have Hunter Bumgardner.
What's up?
That's sad, dude. Peter Mayhew died.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
I'm
The
lost.
guy that played Chewbacca.
Oh.
That wasn't Chewbacca.
I thought that's what you were going for.
I was just like, what's up? Like, roll your tongue, like
Like a drum roll.
okay.
yeah, like.
I just maybe thought of thinking
Welcome.
Chewbacca, and then I thought about how Peter Mayhew died, and then
I
I
mean,
got
I can
sad.
do a Chewbacca one if you
No,
want,
let's not do that.
in honor of that guy.
All right. Now we're good.
Why does this always happen?
This week we're talking about. I guess
We've already had our conversation, right?
Let's just plug it into this. and
Yeah,
then
that's what I'm trying
unplug.
to do.
Oh, go ahead.
This
Like,
week.
no, like actually take the recording and plug it into
That's what
this
we're
part,
doing.
and then talk at the end.
That's what we're doing.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we shouldn't be so transparent. We should just make them think that we're just about to say it.
No.
We can cut all this out, so it doesn't matter.
No, we just
You
need
gotta
to
cut it
say
out.
what we're gonna
Yeah.
say. So
Good
we
mic.
have been having a conversation prior to this intro, and we want to share it with you guys. And it has to do with the direction we want to take the podcast and the direction we want to take our online presence. And we had that conversation like at this point like 45 minutes ago, so I don't know exactly what we said,
Yeah.
but
Should we summarize?
yeah. So I guess let's just go to the conversation right now. From like I still want to pursue like podcasting and blogging as a hobby. It's just I really want to figure out, because like the more passionate you are about the subject, the better you're gonna do, you know.
Yeah.
And like back with the inception of this idea that I had about a podcast, it started off I wanted to do like the millennial Christian or something like that, and then it turned into this based off of like not wanting to pigeonhole ourselves too much, but I just have those thoughts sometimes of like, could we do something more?
Yeah.
Because like, if we were a specific Christian podcast, and the reason I started thinking about this is because I went to that Freedom House Church, and I was telling you I really liked his lecture style preaching, and I was like, if people came in knowing we're a Christian podcast, we would have a lot more to talk about, because we could pick a topic, we could almost write a sermon in a way, not really, but like find Bible verses and find examples and things like that, and it'd be a lot easier to structure episodes. And I think if you think about what if do 200 more episodes of Young Adult's Guide versus do 200 episodes of a podcast where you're like using biblical messages and stuff, like that sounds easier, right?
Yeah, and then it's also a lot more marketable.
Yeah,
Because you just say...
because you have a niche.
Yeah, and then you like youth pastor to youth pastor,
Yeah.
conferences.
Well, see, another reason I was thinking about this is because Mackenzie made me, well, she didn't make me. She asked me to listen to a podcast that she listens to. I can't remember. Some girl it's a Christian podcast. Like, she doesn't, like, I really like the way she formatted it, because she wasn't like, this is a Christian podcast, but like, throughout their conversation, they're talking about marriage. That's why she wanted me to listen to it. Throughout their conversation about like being married and newlyweds, and like she would just throw in these things like, this is what Jesus said, and like it wasn't like in your face.
Yeah.
But you could tell that's the niche she was like marketing to.
Yeah. So is this how you're feeling?
I don't know. I mean, see, because the other thought is like, could we transition this into that?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, because we could technically change the name of everything.
Yeah.
But still keep. I mean, we don't have much of an audience as it is, but we don't have to get a new YouTube account and a new podcasting account. Like, we just could change the name, and
Right.
if we wanted to.
I'm open for that, because I think it'd be good too to challenge ourselves each week to like come prepared.
And it would also be more. This would be more like a small group. It'd be the three of us getting together to do a small group discussion, like devotional type thing.
Yeah.
Which is something I think I need.
Yeah, the whole point at the beginning for me was like I was excited to get together and like have really meaningful conversations. And lately we've been having really great conversations,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not necessarily always super meaningful.
Yeah.
It's because we've exhausted the same things we start getting exhausted
Well-
about talking about things we're not interested in, and the things we are interested in we've already talked about. So we're exhausting our resources.
Well, yeah, that's so that like, if we're talking about like nutrition today, we know a little bit about it, but we're not experts in it. But say we talked about nutrition as it deals with our religion, our faith.
Yeah.
We could go to the Bible, we could listen to sermons, listen to podcasts that other people have done on it, and get a lot of insight to it.
Plus, when I was thinking about 2 weeks ago when we were doing a podcast, I was thinking about like, well, what can we do in Shelby? What can we do in Pokeful to where we could promote this podcast? And what came to mind was like going to middle schools and high schools and talking about it, and also going to youth groups, because that's youth groups and
Yeah.
like Young Life. And then it like hit me like, well, if we were a Christian podcast and we went to youth groups, it would like almost be, I don't know.
It would be something that like, say if we went to a youth pastor, unless we are a Christian podcast, they're not going to be comfortable telling their
Yeah.
kids about it unless we're specifically talking about like biblical
Yeah.
type things. And another reason I was thinking about this is like just yesterday, my dad preached, and he preached about Caesarea and like, I don't even know, like I'm terrible at listening to sermons and
Yeah,
but I know what he talked about.
where Paul did that. Yeah.
Which like he basically asked 3 questions. He said, "Who is your Caesarea?" or "Where is your Caesarea?" and then "Who is your Cornelius?" Which Caesarea is like the place that Paul was sent, and then Cornelius was like this dude who was just a terrible dude.
It was a trial, and dude, I was there. I've been there. It's creepy.
So, but the basic question was like, and I've known this for the past 3 years. Like when God lays things on my heart, and I reflect, like I've known that my Caesarea is the internet. I want to use the internet to reach people.
Yeah.
Like some people, their Caesarea is Africa or whatever, but like I think my Caesarea is the internet, and my Cornelius, I think, is young adult dudes who are growing up in this millennial digital age who don't know how to be Christians.
Yeah.
So that's another reason that I started thinking about this is like, is God calling me to do ministry online? And if that's the case, like I think making a transition from this more generic stuff to that, I mean that's like the first step for me, but like that's me personally, this is like a thing that this is a collective.
Well, how do you? I mean, is that something that you feel led to do like solo, or would you prefer like the 3 of us? Because I don't want you to compromise.
It's not necessarily a preference. It's like I could do it solo, but I think it would benefit from having 3 dudes talk about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if a kid who's in youth group listens to our podcast and he's like, these are young dudes who are teaching me how to be a Christian, a millennial, like that. I don't know. That's just like in my head, millennial Christian, because it's kind of it's marketable and keywordy, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you want to hear what I think?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right. What do you think I'm going to say? First of all,
I have no idea.
just guess.
That you agree,
Keep going.
and you think it's a good idea,
You're not. You're okay. You're not.
and you would like to do that.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I would love to do that, but like, I'm also. All right. Here's the way I would do it. I would say, "Hey, here's our podcast. Listen to it." Like, all right. Here's what's happening in my head. We have 20 podcasts so far, right?
23, but yeah.
23. Okay, 23 podcasts.
24.
We go to all these youth groups. We say, here's our 23 podcast. That is Young Adults Guide to Planet Earth. The end. Then we go from what Clayton is talking about. We have another podcast. We don't scrap our Young Adults Guide. We close the door behind and vault it like they do in Fortnite.
I like that idea, but it might cost us more money considering like having to open another account, right? Which
Yeah, but I don't necessarily. I don't know that that's necessary
What's necessary?
to even be like, this was the old us. Here's the new us. Like just kind of, if we were gonna do it, I think it'd be more like, let's just start fresh. And
Are you saying we'd get rid of all the episodes?
no,
We just put them somewhere else?
I mean they could still live on the channel, but I'm saying like, yeah, we would mention it like, hey, we decided to go a new direction, but it's not this thing that we need to promote. Like, yeah, you should definitely go back and listen to our first 24 episodes.
Yeah. Well, here's why I think this is a good idea, like, so far, because this 25 has, like, been a really good trial run for, like, what we want to do now. Because now we're going to come into this, and we can keep doing young adults until we have, like, everything in place. Like, we have a great intro. And I just think, like, it'd be a really easy transition, and it would be so much smoother than, like, when we first started this. Because, like, I don't consider anything we've done a waste of time. In fact, like, it's enriched my life. I consider it, like, enriching. So,
But like this whole idea, talking about enrichment, it's like, take what we're doing now and multiply that by 10,
Yeah.
and like we would get more out of it. I think we would be putting better stuff into the world.
yeah, agreed.
And I think we would be fulfilling a purpose that God's probably calling us to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to speak for what God's calling you to do, but I think if God's calling me to do ministry online, and I just so happen to have a podcast with two of my friends, then He's probably calling y'all to do it too, in a way.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why we're out here and why that we haven't phased out of it, because
Yeah.
we always do.
Yeah.
So I think there's something here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we should definitely get together on a Saturday and just flesh all this out, because it sounds like we all kind of agree with this direction. I do, anyway.
And it also like makes logistic sense, because like we we're saying, it's more marketable, and it's easier to tell people, yeah, I have a podcast where we talk about how to live a Christian life as a young dude, than it is, yeah, I have a podcast y'all called Young Adults. Like, we don't really have a focus.
Yeah.
Because like there's no focus to this podcast, and like I think I've made the excuse for the longest time that that's not really a big deal, but like take a step back and it kind of is a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Because you need your audience to have an expectation.
We don't even know what to expect half the time.
Yeah, and that's the issue, because like
Nobody's talking.
if
Nobody's
you just
commenting on
if you
our
think
stuff.
about all of the best entertainment, whether it's TV shows, movies, or podcasts, usually you're going in with a set of expectations, and more times than not, if you enjoy the thing, it's because it met your expectations.
Yeah.
But when you turn on an episode of our podcast and you hear us rambling on about random crap, and sometimes get off topic and sometimes not be prepared enough, then you're probably going to come in with the expectation of like, who even knows? And like that expectation can't even be satisfied.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think this is great, and it's these conversations that like ignite my fire for this podcast, because like for me it's always fun and I come and I enjoy it, but you know, recently I haven't had like a strong drive behind it. It's felt a little more monotonous, but like when we have these conversations, and we probably would have had this conversation months ago, but we don't take the time to like discuss the podcast. So I'm just saying, like, we need to have more conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's been this snowball of, and it's definitely God working. It's nothing I've been, but like those two sermons that I listened to that really got my head spinning, and the fact that like I'm finishing up school, it's like this perfect alignment of like, okay, now I can actually focus on other things.
Yeah. And I have time for a big hobby like this too. I mean, just considering like my employment situation, it's conducive to this.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be it'd be like the atmosphere.
What if we kept this YouTube channel, Young Adults God, and did things like that on it?
Okay.
Like gaming
That
stuff and like, and then we can send people from our new YouTube channel to there and be like, hey, we also do this other thing where we goof off and play games and like go there if you want to see that's how
Dude, that is exactly what I was thinking in my head. I just couldn't perform that in my head. Like, you know,
like,
that's what I was talking
in
about.
the Young Adults God podcast, but then like it still exists, so we can still put content there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
this would come out the 27th, and if we took 2 weeks off, which would be next week, the 20th and the 27th, so we'd record on the 3rd, so we release on the 10th. So like we could feasibly have that new podcast start releasing on June 10th.
We need to assign like somebody's got to create a nice intro because that's something we never had here. Is like
We
some
need a
kinda,
nice
like,
song or something. to
but like you were
play.
saying, now that we know what we're doing, like I think just pressing the reset button and launching something new, like we're gonna be so much better at like branding ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only that, it's going to be so much easier to brand ourselves. I've already like in my head 1,000 ways we can do this on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Like literally, instead of like doing different pictures and stuff, well, not different pictures. Well, we could still do different pictures, but it would be so easy, so much easier because number one, there's a huge mass audience for Christian.
But
Number
I
two,
think that's what we gotta realize when we're jumping into this is like we don't need to be overzealous and like think like there's gonna be really positively accepted, because if this is the type of thing that we do and it does get big, 50% of our comment section is gonna be filled with trolls and people
oh god, yeah.
backlash, and like we're jumping into something that we potentially could be heavily prosecuted for.
Wait, what?
I'm easy.
Why?
Not
That doesn't
prosecuted,
bother me.
persecuted.
Persecuted. Yeah, there you go. That's why I was like, what?
I'm not saying it bothers me, but I think we need to at least know that going into it.
Yeah, I think we're also like chill enough and we have open
Yeah.
minds enough that we're not going to
Yeah.
be like.
But like, okay. Sorry, my brain's starting to think about what Clayton said. Persecuting. You're right, because they could be
But there's
trolling our Instagrams, Facebook.
Yeah, but we're not
Twitter.
attacking anybody. I
no,
mean,
no, they're attacking us. Is what he's saying.
But I mean, we're as Christians, we're supposed to not care
Pick
about
up our sword and
yeah,
fight. Yeah,
and we can just delete the comments.
We've been told
exactly.
that we've been told in the Bible that we're going to be persecuted, and that
We might want to leave the comments open because then we can actually.
No, you don't.
well,
Dude,
I think you definitely do, because it's
Yeah.
all about a conversation.
Oh, a little kid goes on our podcast, reads the comments. His mom
Well, if
is
it's
having
in
to cover his eyes. We're gonna have
That's
to
different.
delete comments.
That's different. But if they're like saying like I don't agree with this, then that's where we initiate the conversation.
But if they're saying "F you, son of a F," and you guys are stupid and wrong,
Yeah, we delete.
we
that.
gotta delete.
that definitely.
yeah,
yeah.
that's no big deal.
Yeah.
Because like we're trying to promote, like, and I think we also would be promoting, like, you can disagree with us all you want, just do it in a civil way. Don't cuss in the comment. Like we can say
Yeah.
that in our episodes even.
But I'm just exploding with like, cause think about that. When like every podcast, instead of having to like think like, oh my God, what are we gonna talk about? Write a verse down. We'll have a verse. We can all easily look it up because we all have Bibles. We all look at it. I have a Bible that actually helps me think about each verse. We can research that verse, and it's literally like e-groups.
And it'll be good for us.
It's like we're
need that.
But it,
broadcasting
and it still
an
it
e-group.
still has this same type of vibe where we're still trying to figure out life together. Where we're gonna be discussing some of these biblical topics, but
like
we're
how,
gonna be having to figure out. We're gonna and doing our own little interpretations and like here's how I think we need to go about. And it's still gonna have the same young adults guide vibe. It's just gonna be a lot more focused.
Are we gonna be raw with it?
What do you
Well,
mean by that?
it's structured because I don't want us to say something that's
No,
inaccurate.
not like that. I'm saying like immediately raw. Like straight up like something you don't want to admit to in the public, but you would admit to your best friend.
No, because this is going on the internet.
I know that, but at the same time,
It has to be appropriate. We're
oh,
Christian.
no, I mean no, that's not what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying?
We have to
right?
be leaders and like good examples.
No, I know, but like
I don't know what you're talking about then.
in
Admitting our mistakes.
Yeah, but like things we struggled with in the past.
If it's relevant, yeah.
Okay.
But if it's something that could be like detrimental to somebody, then no. It's just like we would talk about it before the.
Okay,
We
yeah, that
recorded.
makes sense.
But like
I mean,
some,
and that's up to you too. Like,
yeah.
if you have something you don't want to talk about, there's no pressure to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wanting to ask y'all if y'all are going to be like raw. Like, are we going to like, no matter what we say, we're going to be the.
It depends. It's situational, man.
Yeah,
It really
you're true.
depends. I think if it adds, then yeah. Otherwise, let's just stick to the core of what we're talking about.
Oh, yoop. That's the end of the conversation.
Okay, we're back. So I guess you heard what we were saying. I don't really. There was no structure to it because we were just kind of stream of consciousness having a conversation. But I think ultimately what we've decided is to take this podcast in a different direction, and we don't really know what that means right now. We're going to be trying to figure that out over the next couple weeks.
Yeah. This podcast for me has always been something that I've considered constructive, and putting this Christian spin on it is going to, like Clayton said earlier, make it times 10. It's going to be so much more impactful for me. It's going to meet 2 needs in my life instead of just one, and I think it's going to do more for other people too, and potentially be something that can have a lot of meaning to it, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to jump into it, really dive into like all the scriptures and
So
like,
what we've decided to do is take like a 2-week break to really figure out, I guess, a new branding, what we're gonna call it, just we got a lot of things to figure out. So we're gonna take 2 weeks, and it could be like 3 weeks. So tentatively, the date on that would be either like June 10th or June 17th. So look for whatever we're doing on June 10th or June 17th, and there'll be more information, I suppose, whenever that comes out.
We'll
And
put announcements out.
we
on
still
social
don't
media.
really know the logistics of, like, is it going to be the same YouTube channel, a different YouTube channel, how all the podcasting app stuff is going to work. But basically, we're making a transition. It's still going to be us three. It's still going to be the same thing, just different, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's exciting. I'm excited, and I think that you're going to enjoy it more too.
Yeah. I just think we've had a lot of revelations over the past, or at least I've had some revelations over the past couple weeks of what direction I want to take my online presence in. I want what I'm doing online with social media and with this podcast and whatnot to have more meaning and more purpose than I think the Young Adults Guide can provide. Not necessarily that the Young Adults Guide couldn't provide that, but I think making it something else is going to make it easier for us to make it more impactful.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
yeah.
So I don't know if this is not necessarily a sad occasion. I guess it's the close of a chapter, and it's weird. Like, we just started season 2 5 episodes ago, so we already had that 1 week break. But
Yeah.
you know,
I don't think in any way this is a step backwards. I think it's just a step forward.
it's definitely a step forward. So yeah, like I say, it's like the close of one chapter and the start of a new one.
Yeah. This podcast was our Genesis, and the next one will be our Exodus.
Yeah.
Except that would that would mean that we were gonna exit.
No, that's not what I meant.
They get what we mean.
After Exodus, there is no more.
Yeah, I forgot.
I mean, there is.
It's
It's obviously just the second. This is just
Yeah.
a taste of what the biblical conversations we're gonna have.
Yes.
Exodus is the second chapter of the Bible.
Yeah.
Can you guys name all the books of the Bible?
I can name the New Testament.
I used
not the
to be
Old
able
Testament.
to.
Okay, let's not do this right now.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I know the 4
There
of
you go,
those
dude.
Romans,
of the New Testament.
1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians.
I used to memorize. My parents made me memorize it, but I've forgotten it.
Yeah, I
all.
used
Like,
to know it.
my brain skips from 1 John, or my brain goes from 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians to 1 John, 2 John, 3 John.
There's Revelation after that. Those
Revelations.
are the
and then-
last 4.
Yeah, and then I literally skip like
There's
maybe
like
4 or 5.
Thessalonians and Titus.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why, but my brain just can't recall that, so I just immediately skip to 1st, 2nd John, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, 3 Peter,
okay. Anyways,
Revelations, whatever.
we hope you guys stick with us in our new endeavors, and just make the transition alongside of us. And yeah, so it's not as weird as it seems. I don't think.
No.
I think it's a pretty easy transition, but we're just gonna take about 2 or 3 weeks to really figure out what we're gonna be doing.
Stay
So-
tuned. We will keep you updated on the young adult social media, so you won't miss
Yeah,
anything.
go follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Maybe just don't follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, we don't post much on
We don't
Twitter.
even do
Facebook and
anything on
Insta.
Yeah, and our website, because
Yeah, right.
we'll try to update that. Cool.
Well, stay tuned and provide input if you want, because we're starting this from the ground up. So
Yeah, that's a good idea. Provide input. CT, get on those comments.
yeah,
That's right. We said your name.
No, CT would actually provide some really good input, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I just wanted to say we said his name finally.
We've said his name almost
Said
every podcast for the
I
past.
thought we were calling him like the commenter or whatever.
That's what Clayton said.
Oh yeah, like the commenter.
I didn't want to
Mysterio.
single him out.
He's singled out by the fact that he is our single fan. Like, and I don't even know if he's a fan. He's like a loyal
I'd say he was
listener.
a fan. I'd say he's a fan.
A hardcore fan.
We're gonna make a T-shirt for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
just
no,
our 3 faces.
Don't hold me to that.
We're gonna do it.
If we make
Now
a
that you
T-shirt,
said
I
that-
want one too.
Yeah, I want one too. We're gonna have 3.
We're gonna make Young Adult
Our-
Scott T-shirts, even though we're
No,
moving away from
no,
this
Wait,
podcast.
we're gonna make our 3 faces, and then CT is gonna be like this, I don't know, somewhere on the shirt.
We could just make the CT.
Bah,
We could just make the logo
underneath us?
CT's old license picture when he had the afro.
I've seen that. I remember that.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what we should
We could
do?
be
Screw
in
it
his
all.
afro. we could literally be in his afro.
We just need to have a
popping up
podcast
out of it,
where we talk about CT
or, stuff in
without
his afro, or,
context, and we never ask him about anything. We just
Yeah.
make up what his life was.
Yes.
This can just be an ongoing
That's
joke.
We
this
could be
is gonna
like,
be a
I
spin-off
remember one day
podcast.
CT was traveling on the road.
This is a
in a
spin-off
minivan.
podcast called The Life of CT.
Yes. We just make up stories.
Well,
Okay, anyways,
I don't know.
that was a tangent.
Yeah.
Jeez, we always do this.
All right, well, I guess we'll be talking at you. Just our voices,
2 or 3 weeks.
our voices will be back in your ears soon. Oh, okay.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. See you guys.
Godspeed and good conversations.
Why are you laughing?
And I'll learn how to count down from 3 in the new podcast.
Jeez.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Young Adult's Guide to Planet Earth. We hope you enjoyed the conversation.
If you want to join the conversation, make sure to join us on Twitter at Young Adult Guide and Instagram at Young Adults Guide.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell if you want to be notified. Like, comment, and join the conversation.
Talk to you next week.